You're listening to the Bonus Boss Podcast. I'm Benny Ulich, and with me, as always, is Ryan Collins.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How you doing this week, Benny?
I'm doing all right.
The
So-
water bottle looks crazy in the.
Yeah, I guess it
It's just
does.
like flipping water. Anyway,
So I guess I should ask, as usual, what have you been playing this week?
yeah. First, I want to just give a shout out to our sponsor,
Hmm.
Ice Shaker. You can check out the link in the description. But I'm actually not drinking. I'm drinking just out of a clear water bottle right now. But Ice Shaker can keep your drink cold for more than 30 hours. So check out the link in the description. Ice Shaker. They have some really cool products and some good deals on the site right now. I think percentage off and free gifts given out. So check that out. Ice Shaker. Link in the description. Yeah. So this week, you might be a little bit surprised. Because usually I'm like, oh, I was playing MLB. I stick to sports games, play a little NHL, something like that. But I've actually tried to play other games in preparation for our conversation. I did play MLB. I was playing that a little bit, which again, I'll bring up. I am not good at the game. I am just mediocre at best at the game. And when you play online, especially in the game style that I play, Diamond Dynasty, there's you basically rank up with new players. So just like baseball cards, if you do better in a game, you get a reward at the end of the game, which is a better player or something like that. Most of those players don't end up to much, but the points that if you play a whole season, you get more better players. Anyway, when I play against people online, basically everybody that I get matched up against, they have full diamond players, which is the highest level you can have. They're all 99 or above, every single player of theirs, and I'm down in the 80s because I don't play as much as these guys do. They play all the time, so it's pretty impossible to stay competitive in those games against people that are diamond level players. Anyway, the hitting in that game is the hardest part. Pitching I can get around, but hitting you have to be very, very patient with playing. But new games I'm playing this week, I actually tried Genshin Impact. Have you got a chance to play it yet?
I've played a little bit. I pretty much did the intro. I got to the city, and
Yep.
that's pretty much all I've done. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too. I haven't gotten any further than that. I actually did it twice because
Okay.
I played it on my phone.
Okay.
I tried that. I do not like playing games on my phone besides very basic games. I like playing Risk on my phone.
I play Bejeweled.
Yeah, like simple games like that, just puzzle type games or things like that. I'll play on my phone. But when you actually have to use a controller to move around, I don't get how people play Fortnite or Call of Duty or anything like that on your phone. I really don't get it. It just seems like the controls for it and everything, unless you have a separate controller, then I get, you could make an argument that it's the same. It's just a little tiny screen, but
Yeah.
but actually using the controls for Genshin Impact were even kind of they're a little clunky for me
Yeah.
anyway, using a phone. But so then I downloaded it for PS4 too. I played it on PS4. I like that better. I actually like the style of game. It's a lot the scenery, they must be using the same engine as Breath of the Wild or
Right?
whatever it is. It's
Right?
it's the same exact thing.
It looks so similar.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a few games that have come out like that have the same landscape almost. So they must be from the same thing. I don't know. I don't know how or what builds that or whatever or what they're designing it in. I would think that it would be more unique, but yeah, it looks exactly you could basically be playing in the same map as Breath of the Wild, just with different characters. The play style is different. I like the ceiling attributes from the different blobs and stuff like that, the other characters, and you can get fire or ice or water or whatever. I like that. The special abilities are cool. It's also cool switching characters, kind of like Final Fantasy style.
Yeah.
switching of the characters and everything. Except in Final Fantasy, the other guys like still fight while you're, but in this you're like basically like switching between characters. You can only be those characters. It's not like those guys are like fighting alongside you. It's like,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit different. I don't know. Overall, I think it could be like a cool game.
I like the way it plays, but I don't know. It's not bad by any means, but I've just been picking other stuff over it. And like, it's a free game that I know will probably be there forever. So I can like, I
Yeah,
might as well. I've been hearing that they're gonna put it over on the next generation when that comes out.
yeah.
So
Supposedly, yeah, they built the whole game to release for free, and they've already made like all their money back to pay all the designers and everything. I'm thinking we should just start a gaming company and just like
right, let's do it. Let's do it.
get a guy to just, or get a couple people to just say like, okay, listen, we're just going to design this whole game. It's going to take you a year of your time, but once we're done, we're going to release it for free and make all our money. But like, I don't know how they're making money. Like, there's no ads in the game or like anything like that. How do they make their money back?
I think when you get a little further, there's like you can make purchases to buy
Okay.
like items and stuff. But I
Okay, yeah,
haven't
that
gotten
makes
to that
sense.
point yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. Yeah, because it does say like in-game purchases, so that
yeah.
must be how they're making money. But like, still, it's pretty crazy that like you can basically roll the dice and get all these, spend probably $100 million like designing the game, and then say like, well, we're gonna hold off. We'll just pay everybody once the game starts doing well, and it works out. But yeah, pretty cool design of the game, at least so far. Not really sure about the storyline. Doesn't really, you know,
It's
there.
kind of basic, you know?
Yeah, there's not much to it, for the start at least. But yeah, even like the checkpoint things are similar to in Breath of the Wild with the towers. Like, it's like the same game, except it's not
Yeah.
same characters basically. It's like different characters. But anyway, yeah, the other, well, what game, why don't you give a game you've been playing this week?
So I talked a little bit. I mean, last week I complained about that game Indigo Prophecy, and well, I finished it. I
Nice.
finished it yesterday, and I was really starting to get into the story, and it's really neat, and it's like it's kind of like an eerie thriller murder mystery type thing. Like, and there's like some horror elements where there's like possession and stuff and magic, and it's really neat. And then it just like turns it on its head, like right near the end of the game, and it turns into the Matrix.
Huh.
And like there's a fight scene at the end of the game where you and another character are like flying basically and doing like Matrix style attacks. And like,
Interesting.
it's ridiculous. And it was kind of a cool fight scene in the sense of like it was difficult. The game doesn't really do combat, it does the quick time event, so it tells you what button to press and you press it real quick. But like you get used to it for that game because that's how the story unfolds, so it's not like you're missing a whole lot by doing it that way. But then like that's not even the final fight, and then like something else happens and you gotta like a big twist, and then you go to fight the real final boss, and it's legitimately like so anticlimactic. It was like the ultimate bad guy goes, I'm gonna defeat you, and you go, oh okay, let's fight. And then you do the quick time events, you just need to win one of them, maybe two. You do it, then you beat the other guy. Then another bad guy shows up and says, well, I'm gonna kill you instead, and I'm gonna win, right? And you're like, oh, okay. And then you do another quick time event and you shoot the guy, and then it's over.
Interesting.
It was like it built up to this big, you're the savior of the universe. You're the one, just like in Matrix.
Yeah.
But then you just need to shoot the guy and it's over. It was just the game was fine. I mean, it wasn't a great game. It was fine,
Yeah.
but
Have you
that
been
just made me mad.
Yeah, have you been playing any more Titan Souls?
No, I Uh, yeah, so I played Titan Souls on stream
Yeah, on
this last
Facebook Gaming.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep. And okay, so I did awesome right at first, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
know how much of that stream you watched.
Yeah. No, I was watching. Yeah.
So I've played it a little bit before, but I never got very far. So like the game, for those of you that aren't familiar, it's basically a boss battler in an indie style, and you or like a retro style almost, and you play like your character has a bow and arrow, and you shoot the arrows at the boss, and you bring the arrow back. Like it floats back to you when you hold the square button.
Yeah.
uh Really neat game. Like each boss you have to figure out where the weak point is. It's almost like a puzzle thing, and I go in thinking, oh, I'm gonna die so much and this is gonna be funny. I go into the first boss and beat it first try, and I'm like, okay, this is great, this is going okay.
Yeah.
Second boss, I die the first time, but I beat him the second time, I think. And then the struggle starts a little more, right? Like I'm struggling with it, but I figure it out and it's okay. And then so I beat the first section, I go to the next section, and I just get creamed
Yeah.
by every boss. So no, I haven't played more. I probably will. I don't know if I'm gonna stream it more or not, because if I go back on stream with that right now, I'm just gonna die more.
Yeah, that's a tough game to stream just because like it's the same thing with like Ghost of Tsushima sometimes, like when I'm streaming that, like if you um if you get caught in a scenario where you're fighting against a boss and you can't beat him, like, and it's just impossible and you're like so frustrated, you know, eventually you will beat him, but some of those like bosses can legitimately take like a half an hour to beat. Like,
Right?
it's like that's just the way gaming goes sometimes. Like, it just takes forever. So, and the added pressure of knowing people are watching you, it's like makes it worse. Like, so
Yeah.
like, so you're like streaming, like, you know, it just adds to it anyway. So I could tell you were getting a little bit of that with the last guy, that ice shooter boss guy.
Oh, it's the one where you gotta hit the laser, right?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out like what you were like, what was the goal. So the ice goes into the character, and
Okay, so
then
there's that face bit,
yeah,
right? And then this is gonna be so weird to explain for people who have no clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah, go
So-
check out the stream on Facebook, Cruel Fang Gaming, because you gotta kind of see what we're describing here. It's a little hard to describe.
But there's like a post that will like pop up around where you were, and it shoots like an ice laser.
Yeah.
You gotta aim it so that the ice laser hits the teeth.
Oh, okay.
And then
Yeah.
that opens it up, and I don't know because I haven't done it yet, I think you have to then shoot your arrow into the gap.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that, I mean, I get it. A lot of the times I get it. There was another one in there where it was like it was like a water dragon,
Yeah.
and he like jumps out of the water, and when he goes back down, the end of his tail is like a little pink bit that you got to shoot. I have no clue how to get that though.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm probably going to look at some guides at some point, figure out some of these bosses, and then keep playing. But,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a fun game though. I'd recommend it.
It looked fun. It looks like kind of like old school, like Zelda, basically, like
Yeah.
for like the boss battles, like kind of thing. But anyway, another game that I've been playing that excited to talk about is The Flame in the Flood. Now this is like kind of I'm playing it on Switch. I'm not sure if it's even out on anything else, but I'm playing it on Switch. I was looking for like another game that I could just play with on Switch that you know, I played Breath of the Wild. I still haven't beaten that yet, but yeah, The Flame in the Flood. It is a classic, well, not classic. It is a survival style game, but unique in the fact that it's not just like it's basically like checkpoints. So you're going down a river. The idea is that you're on a raft. You're this character named Scout. You have a dog. There's not like too much to the storyline at the beginning. It's just basically like you're trying to get down this river, a long river. You have a raft to start the game. Basically, you have to like learn different things to pick up or whatever, different tools that you can make and everything. It's all about crafting different items and everything like that. Um, you you have 3 or 4 things that you have to always like look at the bottom of the screen is your health, your raft's health, your if you're hungry or not, if you're thirsty, if you're what were the other ones? Oh, and if you have shelter or not. So throughout the basically as you're going down the river, you stop at different islands and every island has like a different thing that they'll have on or different like theme to it or that they'll have on it. Like sometimes you'll stop at an island that has a church and they just have like some supplies. Sometimes you'll stop at one that has a place where you can repair your raft, and sometimes you'll have one that you stop at that's like woods and there'll be more animals and things like that. And some people have houses along the way. Anyway, um, so as you're going down, I guess it's supposed to be a flood type situation, like so the rain comes and you're not supposed to get wet either, like you have to protect yourself from the elements kind of situation, but you're crafting all these things. The cool thing about the game is you start to, because when you first start playing it, you're basically like running out of food from the very second that you start playing, and so you start dying. And it's one of those games you just like go back to the checkpoint, you start over again, you start dying or whatever. And then the whole point is to make it down the river, and it'll tell you how long, like what's your longest that you survived and whatever. So you have to set up traps to catch rabbits to be able to cook them and like stuff like that. So there's a lot of different parts of the game, but graphics are pretty cool. Definitely like an indie style game, has some cool music in it. Kind of cool Halloween type game to play as well, because there's like a lot of like crows and stuff in the game. It's obviously like designed that way purposely. Like the graphics of the facial of the characters are designed purposely that way. It's not like bad graphics, but I call it bad graphics even though it's just like their style of play.
Yeah.
So yeah, really really fun game. I wasn't sure about it at first when I first started playing. I was just looking for something new, but once I got into it and started playing last night, I was playing for a couple hours, and it's a lot of fun. So check it out. The Flame in the Flood. Play as this character Scout and go down a river during a flood. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of
So,
ways you can die in it.
I mean, what else could we want from a survival game, right?
Yeah. It's like, there's even other modes you can play in the game that are like you could die even faster, which I tried that just one time and I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like I can't find food fast enough. Like there's nothing like, it gets pretty, you have to plan ahead in the game too. You have to be like prepared that on the next island that you stop at or next area that you stop at, there might not be any food. So do you have any stored away and stuff like that? So anyway, check it out, The Flame in the Flood. It's only like $15 on Nintendo Switch. So
yeah, and
worth the money.
I just checked. It's also on Xbox. It's on PS4, and
Nice.
it's on PC.
Nice.
So, you play games, and it sounds interesting to you. Pick it up, no matter what you play on.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really gotten into much after finishing Indigo Prophecy. I started a game. It's Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I'm not super into it. I'll probably keep it going, but really I'm just looking for like the next great game to play. Like I played Horizon Zero Dawn and that was fantastic. And like it wasn't that long ago that I finished The Last of Us 2, and there's just great games that I got to play. And so I'm looking for something else really good. Like but I also get intimidated by like that like on my YouTube channel, I do like I talk about what I played each month.
Yeah.
So I get this problem where I want to finish as many games as possible so I have more to talk about. So that kind of it discourages me from playing longer games.
Yeah.
So like I've been looking at like Bloodborne is one I've been wanting to play.
Yeah, I played Bloodborne.
I've played a little bit of it, and it's what I played of it was a lot of fun, but it's kind of a long game. Same with like Death Stranding is one I've been wanting to play, but it's also kind of long. Persona 5 is kind of long.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
just these games that I've been wanting to get into, but like I won't be able to finish it by the end of the month or anything. So like I don't know. I'm just like figuring out that balance can be tough
Yeah.
because I have this thing I'm trying to do for like creative purposes, but then I'm not enjoying it as much because like I even caught myself last month treating it like work, and I was just playing a bunch of short games. I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when you're trying to make stuff for content as far as like that goes, it can be kind of tedious. It can get not fun almost. And the
Yeah,
whole point is in a game is to like escape your reality and go into something where you wouldn't be put in this situation ever. So it's kind
yeah,
of, fun to play as the characters and stuff like that. I would suggest check out The Flame in the Flood. I mean, for $15, like it's pretty good deal there to play. Maybe check it out on PS4 instead of the Switch, just so we can compare to see the differences or whatever. But if you play it on Switch too, I think that you get the same um, experience. My Switch, the controller is broken right now, so it's kind of annoying. But other than that, the Joy-Con controller, so I had to order another one though. But I ordered this. I don't know what they call it, but basically instead of the two Joy Cons, it's just like a regular controller that you put your Switch into.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I got one of those. It was only like $30 on Amazon, so we'll see. Maybe we'll
okay,
do a little review on that. Seems pretty decent. So, but yeah, Flame in the Flood is a game that you can buy and just like kind of play for a little while, like let it sit. Like it's always going to be the same style of game. You don't
mm,
it's not like really like story based, so you can kind of just see how far you can make it. And then it does get addicting because you are trying to make it further the next time. And um you start to learn things. Like right now I'm building a bow and arrow. I've just gotten to that point, so then you can like fight different monsters and stuff like that. They don't give you, that's the other thing, they don't really give you a weapon, so you're out there, and if you have like an animal attack you or something, there's nothing you can do. So but anyway, speaking of characters, you had a little idea for this week's episode.
yeah.
um
I thought it would be fun to just kind of discuss some of our favorite characters, whether they're the coolest or most hardcore or toughest or funniest. I don't know, whatever
yeah.
you want. But I just thought it would be fun to, like usual, we each pick three and we'll take turns. I don't know, just talking about our characters.
Okay, cool.
So why don't you tell me the first character, one of your favorite characters from the
All
video?
right, so I kind of went basic with this first one. It's Mario.
Okay.
Reason why I went with him is just because of like how iconic he is, and throughout video games, like in general, like he's basically, besides like Sonic, like he was like the first character that I really saw in video games in
Mhm.
general. Like Sonic probably came out later with Sega, and I played with him, played games with him for a couple of years anyway. I haven't really played a Sonic game in a little while. But anyway, um Mario is so iconic, just mainly for me for the Nintendo 64 version of him.
Yeah.
But I just think it's like such a simple, crazy like story with him in general. Like if you look at beyond, like obviously he doesn't have that much of a story besides, I guess they're basically plumbers, right? Like
Uh, yes. So this is weird that I even know this, but a
okay.
few years ago, Nintendo published something on their website that said that he is a former plumber. So he retired, and I guess now he's a full-time hero. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. All right.
But yeah, yes, they are or were plumbers.
Yeah. So that like speaks to, I guess, like them going down pipes in the game.
Yeah.
Like which basically, like, I mean, I
I
guess it
mean,
makes sense, but it's like it's kind
when
of
when my plumber comes over to do some repairs or whatever, when he needs to go home, he just hops through the
yeah,
sink.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that like just overall from like a character development standpoint of like, there's not much to him, but the point of like Nintendo making this character and it being as iconic as it is, of basically just like these two Italian plumbers
Yeah.
becoming like, like massive hits or whatever. And the N64 version of him, I think, is when he really came to life, and like especially the voices and like
Yeah.
everything like that. And that game, actually, they just like, I don't know if remastered is the word, but they released it on Nintendo Switch
Yeah.
for you to play. Which I watch this guy on stream play it all the time. It is addicting to just sit there and watch him beat the game in like 3 hours. So,
Right. My
uh,
goodness.
yeah. So,
Well, I think Mario's a really good choice specifically because like he's iconic not even just in like how long he's been around and how everybody will associate him with video games, but like look at all the different things that he's done, right? So it was originally this fun little side scroller game and they did that for a little bit and they still sometimes do it.
yeah.
But then you got these like 3D games and then like Mario 64. And then they still do stuff like that, but still change it up. Like Super Mario Sunshine, like you're
Yeah.
running around with the water gun
Right.
backpack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Galaxy, you're flying in space and stuff. Um, there's like Super Smash Bros. Is a fighting game. I mean, it's not just Mario, but like
Yeah.
there's that. There's so many different Mario sports games too.
Yeah. Mario
Like
Tennis.
yeah, there's just so much that they can do with Mario. Like sometimes it might feel like a little bit of a cash grab, like whatever, but
Yeah, but with him, it almost doesn't. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like he's
yeah,
kind of the exception of the rule. Like there are situations like that in video games that I see like, okay, like we get it. This character can do everything. But like in this scenario, like it's almost just accepted, I think, just because he's been around for so long. And also you just be hard pressed to find somebody, I think, throughout the world that didn't know who Mario was.
yeah,
Like, he's just like that well recognized, but you can't really say that for many other characters besides like Pokemon, I guess. Like
yeah.
people, like if you showed somebody a Pokemon, like for the most part, people know, even people
Depend
that don't game or aren't into it, like they know.
depends on the Pokemon, but yeah. Show
Right,
him a
yeah, yeah.
Pikachu. Show him a Pikachu, and
Yeah,
people know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
He is okay. Pikachu is an example of a cash grab to me. I
you think
think
so?
like in any of the game like that they like put him in like other scenarios and stuff like that in other games or whatever, I think that's an
Okay.
example of like if it's a Pokemon game, it's one thing. But if it's like, Detective Pikachu or some stupid thing, it's just like, which the movie wasn't terrible. I don't know.
I,
Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
It wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't like terrible.
But Ryan Reynolds is good in everything he does.
Yeah, he is.
All right.
Your
Well,
first character.
I decided to also go a little I don't know, early, I guess, and hopefully I'm not stealing from you here. Link.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna use him,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't pick him, but
Okay, okay.
I was thinking about him too, in general, just because of you know history and what we've talked about playing as
Yeah.
kids and stuff like that. But go ahead.
And in a similar sense, like look at all the development of the Zelda games, right? Like it was a top-down like adventure game or whatever, and they turned it into a 3D adventure, and now like Breath of the Wild, the most recent Zelda game or the most recent like original Zelda game,
Yeah,
is having uh everybody else copy it because it was so good. Like we
yeah,
talked about Genshin Impact.
yeah,
Like Link is, I mean, so that's like the game series in general, but I just always thought that Link was cool. Like, I don't know. This is such a stupid little thing. I always thought the little green cap was like really cool, but like, who could ever actually pull that off? You know?
yeah.
Like,
You just
could
look
you
like an elf,
imagine,
basically.
right? Could you imagine like going to school wearing one of those and not getting bullied?
Yeah,
Like, but I don't know. I just always thought Link was cool. He's got the cool sword. Um, whether it's the kid version of Link or the adult version of Link
yeah.
Or even like look at what was that game? Wind Waker, where it's like the cartoonish style. Like Link's even cooler than that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just really like Link and Zelda as a whole.
Yeah, there's a new what's that new Zelda game that they have out that's on Switch? He's the cartoon. It's like
Oh,
Link's Awakening or something.
yeah. Yeah. So Link's Awakening was from on the Game Boy originally. So
Okay.
this is a remaster or a remake of it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that he's a perfect choice for a character just because of again the history of him. It's basically like the first RPG game ever made, or the
Mhm.
first successful RPG game ever made. I talked a lot about before and N64 that Ocarina of Time, like just
Yeah.
iconic game. Wasn't really that much of a fan of Twilight Princess, that
Hmm.
game, but Majora's Mask. I mean, like there's just been so many games that they've made off of this character. Um, awesome. I think it's cool now to see like in Breath of the Wild, they try to beef him up a little bit, make him more like badass and like,
Yeah.
that's cool to see in a game. Yeah, so good choice. My second choice is kind of along that same line.
Okay.
It's actually Navi. Um,
Oh.
because here's why. Because like she's the most annoying like character in a game I've ever like played with. Like and but also just like so it just goes back to this whole idea of like being so simple and so like perfect for the situation. Like it's just this fairy that follows you around, gives you advice and everything like that, pops up in such a certain situations. Like you'll be about to fight a boss, like going to swing at him, and she'll just like, "Hey, listen!" like just like pop up, and it's like, and start to talk. It's just like so perfect for the whole situation. I think it was like a greatly like mastermind character for that game itself. And look, she basically like falls like the whole, she's not in Breath of the Wild though, but
No, I think that she's only in um Ocarina of Time, but they use
well,
similar
she's in the Awakening, right?
in which one?
Link's Awakening.
I don't know actually. I haven't played it.
Yeah. I just remember seeing like a video. I thought she
Okay.
was like kind of like in the corner, but anyway.
Majora's Mask has a fairy, but it's a different fairy.
Yeah, yeah. And same thing with the other one that I just said, the Twilight Princess. It's like
Yeah.
another character like that, but it's not a fairy.
Oh yeah, yeah. The little she's like an imp, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, she's my second character.
That's
Not a main character, a supporting role character, but I
yeah.
think that iconic all the same.
So for my second character, I also chose someone who's more supporting. Um, so I love Kingdom Hearts. Have you played any Kingdom Hearts?
No.
All right, so this is going to go completely over your head.
Okay.
Okay, so the main character is this kid Sora, and there's this whole lore with the game where Sora got the Keyblade, which is like, he was destined for it or whatever. But it turns out that he was not the one that the sword chose. The sword chose Riku, but Riku was not completely pure and he gave into darkness, so he didn't get the Keyblade.
Okay.
But Riku just has the coolest story arc throughout the games for me. Like in the first game, he ends up being like he acts as one of the bad guys, but he's not like evil. He gave in to darkness and he's misunderstood and he just missed the mark, right? And in the second game, there's still a little more of that, but like he realizes his faults. And then in like there's some of the side games. In one of them, you get to play as him in it's called Dream Drop Distance. You get to play as Riku, which was like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
His combat was way better than Sora's in that game. Uh, and then in Kingdom Hearts 3, he like went full circle, and now he has a Keyblade, and he gets to help uh, join Sora and fight against the forces of darkness. And it was just this cool, like full circle, really neat story arc with great character development. Though he's not the hero, and sometimes he's the bad guy, Riku is just the coolest character in that game.
So is this game do you play like Final Fantasy style with like other characters, or you just this character for the whole game?
So you play as Sora the whole game in most of them.
Okay.
So it's confusing. In the first game, you always play as Sora. You've got your party members with you, but you don't switch out at all.
Okay.
In Kingdom Hearts 2, you play the first bit of the game as another character. What was his name? Roxas, I think. Yeah, you play as Roxas. And for like 2 hours or something for the introduction, and then you play as Sora for the rest. And then like Dream Drop Distance, which like fit between 2 and 3 to like bridge the rest of the game. You play as both Sora and Riku. You switch back and forth. And then
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 3, you play as Sora through most of it, but there are some bits where you play as other characters.
Okay.
So, yeah, that. But Riku is just I really like Riku.
Okay. Yeah, so like the style of the game is basically like you're not switching off like in battle with other characters, you're by yourself basically.
Yeah,
So
Donald Duck and Goofy will like join you and like run around and cast spells and
oh really?
yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I'll have to
It
check it out.
sounds so stupid, and I know it does. But
Yeah. Okay, so my third character. This one was a little bit tougher for me, just because like I think there's other characters that I might like playing. Like I really like the Borderlands character. I liked Bioshock character, but I couldn't specifically like. I think if you have to Google the character and like figure it out afterwards, because it's been so long that I've played that, it's probably not like that memorable of a character for you. I think like playing that game is probably better than the actual character was.
yeah.
So my third choice is Nathan Drake from
Oh,
Uncharted. I think that he's just like the storyline of that game and like just him in general, just being a treasure hunter and everything like that. He embodies like all of that like so perfectly in a character. He's like easily they could make that. Well, they pretty much did with other movies, but they could make that whole like game into a movie with that character. And it was probably I'm not much of a scene watcher in a movie, in a game. I actually just like playing the game. I don't really watch that
okay.
much part of the scenes, which I know I miss a lot of the storyline, but I like usually skip ahead of that part. But in Uncharted, I always watched all the scenes. And
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of like made that game for me is like it just was more like you're in a movie playing as Nathan Drake, like, and I just thought it was really cool. Anyway, that's my third
Did
choice.
you play that whole series?
Yeah, I played the whole series.
Okay, so I love him, and I think that there's some really cool character development for Nathan too with
Yeah.
that one, where like I mean, especially when you compare like the first 3 games to the fourth, how like now he's a family man and like
Yeah, right, yeah.
he's married and he's got to go behind her back to go on the
Yeah.
treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Um, there was also after the fourth one, they had like an extra game. It was called actually I don't remember what it was called, but you play as like Elena from the second.
uh,
No, not Elena. You play as shoot, what was her name from the second game?
I don't know. I don't remember characters' names like that. I hardly do,
Whatever.
but yeah.
You play as one of the girls,
Okay, yeah.
and so you go on a different journey. And then there's also on the Vita there was a game called Golden Abyss, and it's set before the first Uncharted game, and it's fun. Like I love
Yeah.
Uncharted, and I've played all of them, and I'll play them all again.
Yeah. Are they supposed to come out with one for PS5?
I don't know. I
It's
hope
usually
so.
their like flagship game, basically. Like
Yeah,
they obviously like the graphics and the gameplay and like everything like that just seem like they want to show it off on the new consoles.
yeah.
It always seems like that.
If
So
that happens, the two things I expect are number one, we'll be done with Nathan. I think that Thief's End was the end of his story.
yeah,
But also, I think that it will be a little while because Uncharted is made by Naughty Dog, and they just finished up with The Last of Us 2,
Yep.
which I mean doesn't mean that you can't work on more than one game at a time, but that they don't really want to put in like, while they're finishing one thing up, let's put all hands on deck, and then now they'll start ramping up if they're working on that or whatever they're working on next. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see it on PS5, something, but I don't expect it for a while at least.
Yeah, but really good series. I like in general just like that whole game, and the character I think is just like perfect for like a perfect storyline of his life, and just a treasure hunter character. It just like fit so perfectly with the storyline. Not only that, but just like the game itself and everything like that. The guy just looks like a treasure hunter. Like,
Yeah.
like it's just like if you had to draw a treasure hunter, that's the guy that you would draw. So, anyway,
So
what's your third pick?
yeah, so for my final character, I picked Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. There's a lot of reasons. For one thing, it's because like with the way that the first two games especially, but all three of them really, the way they gave you the choices to like mold Shepard into who you want him to be. So it was like Shepard was like a branch of myself in a way. And not to say, like, I don't mean to say that I'm the coolest character, but like he got to be exactly what I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Or like there's a bit where the journalist is like hassling you, and you can either just tell her to back off or something, or you can like punch her. And it's like, I punched her.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I'm going to do something that I would never do in real life. But
Yeah,
like,
right.
it just
Yeah.
seems like a fun thing. And I don't know. I loved those games. Those games were great, but like, could you imagine? I do imagine that they wouldn't be quite as strong if it weren't for the strong character, the strong level of choice in creating the character and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we got an example of that with Mass Effect Andromeda. I didn't care about those characters. We still got the choices, but it wasn't really that special the way Shepard was.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never played the game, so you basically you choose your own adventure type thing. Like if you pick a certain thing, then the storyline goes a certain way, kind of situation.
Yeah, so a lot of the story is like the levels are still going to be the same and stuff like that, but there's stuff where like there are like romance options. That's not necessarily like the core of the game, but a lot of people will flock to it just for that. Even
Yeah.
there's a specific mission in the first game where you choose basically who's gonna die. Sorry for the spoiler there.
No.
But it's basically like save one character or save the other, and then you can kind of get the idea from there. And there's stuff like, one of my favorites is there's a bit where you can choose to become an ally with a character or not. And if you become an ally with that character, you never see them again in that game, but they show up in the second one. Like stuff like that is just so cool.
Yeah.
It's an
you're
RPG
in space
shooter. Yeah.
Okay.
You fly to different planets and you carry out your mission there, but it's a shooter with RPG elements, and it's probably my favorite shooter that I've ever played. Specifically Mass Effect 2. I spent way too much time on that one.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll have to check that out. I've never played it, but I haven't really seen a lot about it too, so it'd be kind of like a new experience for me. But
well, I keep hearing that they're remastering it for PS4.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I haven't seen an actual announcement, but the rumors haven't stopped. So
right, yeah. So we'll see.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe they come out with it on PS5, and yeah,
fingers crossed.
We're pretty close to the release of both consoles anyway.
Yeah. Less than a month.
I haven't really seen a ton on them besides like I did see a couple screenshots of like PS4 versus Xbox, and the game did look better on PS4, but you know, there's a lot that can go into that too. Obviously, like you know, you kind of said this before, choose whichever console you
Yeah,
want to play. And it I
play
think
what
that
you want to
you're
play.
yeah, I think at this point you know, people could still make the argument that PC gaming is better than, or graphics wise and everything like that. You can, and maybe that's true, but like these consoles, like, I mean, you're pretty much close to perfect with them. I
Yeah,
mean, like at this point, like the graphics, like, yeah, like they can get better and everything like that, and all that will evolve, but you almost want it. Like, there's a certain point, and I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, there's a certain point where I still want it to look like a video game. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, I don't want like real life, like that much real life characters. Like, I don't want it to look like a movie. I want it to look like a video game. That's like the whole point. It's a, you know, you're stepping into a different world. You're playing as a different character that you never would be in real life. Like you were just saying, like there's just something about it that, as graphics get so much better, it's like, all right, like, I don't want it to. The only exception is probably sports games, I guess, because you can like you know those are real people in real life and
mhm.
like you know there are like you kind of want it to look like a real game, but like as far as like video game characters are concerned and like playing games, like you almost want it to still look like a video game. I don't know, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I am really interested to see how much more they advance it. Um, there are games that are like they call it full motion video, where it legitimately is they had a camera on somebody, they
Yeah,
film it, and then you get like different options or whatever. Those tend to be pretty like lacking in game mechanics because you can't really be like, you know, making them do attacks or whatever. But
yeah, right, yeah,
um, it's, I mean, stuff like that's kind of cool. And I am really intrigued to see where things advance. And I'm kind of with you where I want it to look like a game, but also like I don't know. I feel like I just want to see what more happens because like I bet 20 years ago nobody thought that video games would look as good as they look now, you know?
yeah,
I mean, like with a lot of our character choices, we were talking about like look at the way the characters have developed over time. Like look at the way gaming in general has developed from like Pong and Pac-Man and
right,
old
yeah,
school Mario, and now we've got like The Last of Us and Genshin Impact, which is really pretty,
yeah,
is free. That's a free game.
right, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see how things develop more, but honestly, I'm happy with the way games are now.
yeah, yeah,
I do, as far as the PC argument, like I get that uh, PC computers are a lot more upgradable, right? So you get a really nice setup, and then when more technology comes out, you need an
exactly, yeah,
upgrade, you just upgrade it. That
yeah,
makes sense. It's gonna be long term better on your wallet than buying a new console every 6 years or
yeah,
whatever.
yep,
However, I don't really want to put up with all that customization and all that effort. I'd rather just go get another console.
yeah,
Um, I haven't really talked a whole lot about this with you yet, but my I'm pretty sure that those glitching issues I've been having is because of my PlayStation,
yeah,
because I've had it with a few different games now. Initially, I thought it was just The Last of Us. I don't think it is, which is really unfortunate because I don't want to have to replace it, especially so close to the PS5.
yeah, yeah,
Like, if I have to replace it, I might as well just get a PS5 since it will play most of my PS4 games anyway.
yeah,
Um, but I've been looking at different fixes, and there's stuff about like I got to check to make sure my hard drive's okay. I got to open it up and make sure there's not too much dust in there. I got, and it like it's stuff I can do. I'm good with like computers and whatever and with the hardware, but it's still more effort that I want to put into it. I
right,
just
yeah.
want my PlayStation to work and just hook it up and play.
Yeah, when you got your PlayStation, was this like an original one? Like,
I think it was the second set. Like the whole thing's weird because it's technically an original PlayStation, but it's really the second model, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a PlayStation Pro. So
Okay.
I had one PlayStation for a while, and then I basically started running out of space. And instead of like buying just like an external hard drive, I just decided whatever, I'll just buy the PlayStation Pro. I got, I think GameStop was doing like a promotion where you could get, if you traded in your other PlayStation, you could get so much money off of, which I'm hoping they do with the PlayStation 5 because, you know, to me, like I'm not gonna hold on to a PlayStation. Like obviously, like with a Switch or something like that, it's different. Like you keep that console, but like with PlayStation, like it's like, well, I'm not gonna do anything else with the PlayStation. I'm always gonna play on PlayStation 5. I'm not the only thing I guess you could do is like put it in a different room, and if you had like friends over or something, you could play another game on that. But yeah, we'll see what they. I mean, right now, basically, it seems like they're still trying to figure out all the pre-orders and everything like that. But hopefully, the timing wise of this, like I get why they do it, but at the same time, it really screws over a lot of people because we can't really get it for like a Christmas time present or anything like that because if you don't pre-order it and whatever, unless you get one on Black Friday, which I don't even know if they'll really have them out, and it'll probably be impossible to get one. Maybe we should do a whole video of me and you camping out to get
Ooh, that'd be kind of fun.
PlayStation 5.
I gotta save up my money then.
Yeah, on Black Friday. Well,
Oh,
we just need one, just for the video. It'd be kind of funny,
mhm.
but yeah, I can't even imagine that. I go Black Friday shopping, but I don't even really ever buy anything. I just like the craziness of everybody else running around.
I
I've,
did.
I've bought a couple things. I think I bought a TV once, but it wasn't like I ran in the store and I got it. Like it was I was walking around the store and I
Mhm.
saw a good deal on the TV and I got it, and there were still leftover ones. It wasn't like the deal, like, oh, get a 55-inch TV for $20. Like it was nothing like that. But yeah.
I went Black Friday shopping last year
Yeah.
specifically for the purpose of making a YouTube video.
Yeah, I
But
saw it. Yeah.
I went at night and so it was relatively empty and I got like a movie and a stuffed animal and like I didn't really get much. But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wonder how early people, because of the console releases, people will be lining up this year.
I'm also curious about how different Black Friday shopping is going to be in general because of, well,
COVID. Yeah.
yeah, our world is weird right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to, if we do it, we'll have to mask up and really
Yeah.
take care to make sure that that doesn't happen. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the Bonus Boss podcast. Make sure to check out that link in the description for Ice Shaker products. Check that out. And next week, I think, what was our idea? What we're going to talk about?
Was next week? I don't know.
Plots of games, basically designing
Okay.
a game, more character development, and what kind of game we would like to really see being made. So from Cruel Fan Gaming, this is the Bonus Boss podcast. Benny Ulich, Ryan Collins. Cheers. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.